Anusha will now give us some perspectives on thinking big.
Well, thanks for that lovely introduction, and happy afternoon, everybody. First, I would like you to stand up and check your seats under. There is an offer for 1 crore waiting for you under your chairs. That was just a joke. I think if people had followed us carefully, I think you would find that thinking big is not just talk that we do the walk as well. So I think, with that story, I would like to start, greetings to all the people who are assembled here, and thanks to the veteran who covered all the topics that I was already having in mind. I had to think of new things to cover. So I think first story that I would like to talk about is the 1 crore story itself. If you haven't found the offer, I think it's time you should start looking for it. The thing is, that is not the end of the story. The guy has got an offer from 2 big companies in the US, and he has made it big. But he didn't stop there. The story is that he's not even considering taking them. The reason is because he's an innovator. He's an innovator, and he has a lot of ideas in his pocket that he wants to cash in on, and not just the 1 crore that somebody is offering him. So that is the story. I think the students today, are very talented. We find a pool of students that are really informed, well-informed, and of course, there is a segment that is not there in this population, but given a choice, I think all of them would like to be in this category. And I find that there is a tremendous effort from the student side that they go through so much pains. 100 hours of interview on Skype is not a joke. That is what he had to go through. And this is the kind of tolerance and, responsibility that the students are having. Some of them are really taking on to new heights and really thinking big. So the entrepreneurship is something that I'm advocating really, that's how, I want to segregate my talk into 3 parts, which is entrepreneurship, and then, some things that he touched upon, our previous speaker touched upon, responsibility and roles of the students, and then the last part is empathy. I'll come to that. So the first part is entrepreneurship, which I think, I always tell the students, I don't want you to get jobs. They all get startled. The first time they hear it, they all get startled. Not just because I'm there telling about it, but being in TIE, an organization, I'm the president of the organization in Coimbatore, and being associated with such an organization which tries to promote entrepreneurship throughout the world, it is nothing but a dream for us to think of all of our, people who we are associated with to become entrepreneurs. I think especially if we nurture that early on with our students, I think we have a very good chance. I want to give you an example of Israel. I don't know how many of you have read or heard about Israel. I think Israel is the most innovative country. And, if you think about recycling water, they've recycled 97% of the water that they use. So I don't think there is any other country that is coming even close to that. So Israel, 1 out of every 4 person you would meet is an entrepreneur. And they have an innovative idea that they nurture on. So you must have heard of a lot of technical things about, agriculture and even, missile technology. There's so many areas where Israel is the most important and innovating country in the world. So that is something that they consciously do. And, they have a different way of education system. The education system across the globe, I'm very fascinated by reading about all these different systems. And the system that they have, don't get distracted by the pictures. It's just a flash presentation. It'll keep going on. I don't have anything. But, the idea is that the country nurtures it by choice. I mean, like by, it's mandatory for everybody to go through certain, after high school, they're not immediately put into college or they're not immediately going into any particular area of work. They are put into army. I think if you have read about the story of Israel, it's very, motivating. And, that is something that is a dream for us to think about in our country, and I seriously believe that, we can, we all as educationists and, corporate and everywhere, we have a part in, role in playing this very important part for making entrepreneurs. And one of the stories that I want to highlight, two stories that I've seen recently, I keep telling this to the women. We had a women entrepreneurship summit recently, and one of the things that I shared is the story that I saw in Shanti Ashram. Everybody knows Shanti Ashram in Coimbatore, and I met about 100 women in part of this Women's Day celebration, the 100th Women's Day celebration, and I was there speaking, but some of the stories that they told about their women entrepreneurship, the women entrepreneurs who were there. One lady, she's a Muslim lady. She is not allowed to get out of her house nor interact with any men, but she sits inside her house, makes idlis and dosas, and makes 10,000 a month. So this is her story, how difficult it is for her to even get help. And, she doesn't leave the house. She doesn't, with so many constraints, she's able to make that happen. And there's this other lady who's tailoring, and she actually, she teaches tailoring for all the women who come for 500 rupees for 15 days. And for every 15 days, she has to get at least 15 people. And so for every 15 days, she has to get new people who are coming in to learn with her. And she teaches them how to stitch salwars and all those things, skills that she teaches. And she says 2-3 years she's been doing, she's never had a problem of not having enough people to teach. I mean, what is the turnaround time? Looking at us, we are getting once a year admissions, we are thinking so much and we spend so much. But, the turnaround time that she's had, it's just, the constraints that they've been having and the skills that they've been showing in as part of entrepreneurs as becoming, I think these stories, these kind of stories are very inspirational. We can look around and find every little example everywhere. And I think, opening the eyes of the students to look around, to see such things, and make them entrepreneurs. The other story is about a Taliban woman who sits with the violent, the terrorists, and inside the captive area, she sits and knits, and she makes pillows and pillowcases and bed covers, and she made money and she saved like 6 of their family members. So in such circumstances, if people can foster entrepreneurship, I think we are all very thankful, and we should be grateful for the situation that we are in, and we should motivate more of our future generation to become entrepreneurs, and all of us should be playing a very great role towards that. I just wanted to touch that, and I mean, as part of students, you wouldn't believe the kind of we had the TEDx thing, and once we actually opened up the platform for new ideas and entrepreneurship, the ideas were just flowing in. And you wouldn't believe, we thought only college students, but school students also. And there is no stopping from that. And it's not just one idea they have. I've realized that if you go to a student who has a good idea, the probability is that they will have at least 10 of them with them. So their idea levels and their energy levels are really, really appreciable. And all they need is a platform. And I think we as education institutions, and whoever is here is, I think we need to understand that. And if we provide that, I'm sure our scenarios will be changing greatly. And I think the responsibility part, I think majorly what I was going to touch is your second point that you had, or the first one. Make them social. I think it was the very first one that he had. That is very right on. And I've experienced it personally, put them on to social causes. And this, to me, is a tremendous changing agent in any student. And, I've seen it visibly, and it is happening all around. It is just a chain reaction. Once you get it started, you can't stop it. And if you've, been bitten by that bug, it's just continuing on and on. So, some of the examples that we had is like, it's definitely we have all our constraints, right? 3 months, university exams are coming. We have to prepare them. They have to make good results. They have to give ICT, AT, training has to be given. All that has to be given. They have to be prepared for the jobs. All that is there. But still, the activities that they can plan is just, it need not be huge. That's what I've realized. And, something simple as having the blind children perform in an annual day where all the college kids are having a party. It's just as simple as that, but there is an element of humanity that comes in them. And what I have found, and I believe, and I think in a few years we'll be able to make a real difference, is that, humanity, the thought of humanity, in Tamil the word is beautiful. I keep repeating that, Manitha Neyam. And the word mattu irunduchina, I think, any professional will be a good professional in any field. This is what I feel. And I personally believe that, and I think, that is something that brings great responsibility to the student community as well. And we've been associated with a lot of causes. I think, Green Kalam and Nanni Chan, which is for saving the girl children. So things like that, there are so many causes that are out there, and, I think you can associate they have so much energy, and flowing that energy positively will avoid a lot of problems that you have to deal with. Not to say that we've not been having our share of, issues, and there are other things also. All said and done, these things work only for the segment still listening to you. So you need to identify who are all not listening and, kind of bring them on board. So that is also a challenge. There's education institution. I cannot say that, we are all pink and everything is great, but there are issues. But majority of them, if they are on board with you, I think the culture will set its own trend, and you'll have less to worry in the future. It'll take a few years, but I think it'll really make a difference. And the third thing is actually it's a combination of a lot of things. There are a lot of training companies, there are a lot of corporate, and there's a lot of educationists here as well. I think we all forget one thing here, is to empathize with the student. First year, you put them through training. Second year, you start aptitude training. The third year, you start something, you give them separate coaching for assignments. You give them separate, there is so much going on in their life that they get monotonous and bored with a lot of things. So I think it is very important, even the training companies or anybody, I think we all intend very good, good things to happen. We know, it's like we act like the parent in the family. We know what's good, this is what needs to happen. And we fail to empathize with the student community in general, to even relate to them as to what they are going through. I think giving them a voice and helping them come out with their own solutions to many of these issues that we face will also fetch a very good, response from their side. In an inclusive management style, I think if you can, involve their inputs and, take the training and anything that we want to accomplish with the student community, if we empathize with them and bring them on board, and if they know that they have an open door of communication with you, I think things are going to be better, I think, in playing the responsibility factor among the students. So I think this is all I've had to share from my side, and I hope to answer any questions in the future if you have any. Thank you.